The older woman dating a younger man faces the same question. Will this bring joy or heartbreak? It isn't about desperation or trying to stay young, it's about connection. But there are mistakes that can ruin it before it even begins. Hi, I'm Vernon. In this video, I'll share 4 things an older woman should never do with a younger man, if you want respect, not regret. These insights come from real experiences, real pain, and real wisdom earned through both triumph and heartbreak. Love doesn't ask about age, but respect, balance, and power in a relationship always show themselves, especially when one partner is younger. Ignore these mistakes, and what could have been the love of your life can quickly turn into one of your biggest regrets. Before we dive in, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe, so you'll never miss insights that help you build love that's not only passionate, but lasting. Your engagement also helps me reach more women who are ready to embrace their power at every stage of life. Now, let's begin with the first mistake that I see far too often, and it starts with how you see yourself.
Number 1, never apologize for your age. Have you ever caught yourself making jokes about your wrinkles, your senior moments, or how you're too old for something before anyone else even notices? This is the first and perhaps most damaging mistake I see older women make when dating younger men. The moment you begin apologizing for who you are, for the life you've lived, for the wisdom etched in every line on your face, that's the moment you hand over your power. When you constantly draw attention to your age as something shameful, you're not being humble or self-aware. You're teaching him to see you through the lens of inadequacy. You're programming both of you to focus on what's supposedly wrong, rather than what's magnificently right. You might not expect a 59-year-old woman and a 43-year-old artist to fall into such a deep connection. But that's exactly what happened when Helena met Joseph. Their connection was immediate, intellectual, emotional, deeply satisfying. But Helena had a habit. Every time they were together, she'd make little comments. "Look at these crow's feet," or "I'm too old to be wearing this," or "You probably think I'm ancient." For months, Joseph reassured her, told her she was beautiful, insisted age didn't matter. But one evening during what should have been a romantic dinner, Helena made yet another self-deprecating comment about her appearance. Joseph stopped mid-sentence and said something that changed everything. "Helena, I never noticed your wrinkles until you kept pointing them out. Now I can't unsee them, not because they're ugly, but because every time I look at you, I remember how much you hate what I see." That moment of brutal honesty saved their relationship. Helena realized she had been sabotaging not just Joseph's perception of her, but her own self-worth. She had been so busy apologizing for her age that she forgot to celebrate her beauty, her experience, her depth. Your age is not an apology you owe the world. Every year you've lived has added layers to your character, depth to your understanding, richness to your capacity for love. When you own this truth completely, when you carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows her worth, something magical happens. He stops seeing your age as a number and starts seeing it as the source of everything that draws him to you. The woman who apologizes for her age teaches others to see her as less than. The woman who embraces her journey teaches others to see her as magnificent. And it brings to mind Maya Angelou's timeless words. A woman in harmony with her spirit is like a river flowing, powerful and unstoppable, carving new paths wherever she goes. And that's why the next mistake is so destructive, because it isn't about how you see yourself, but the role you unconsciously take on in his life.
Number 2, don't play the mother role. Here's where things get psychologically complex, and where I see so many beautiful connections derail. There's something almost magnetic about the urge to nurture, guide, and care for a younger partner. It feels natural, even noble. But the moment you shift from being his lover to being his mother figure, you've killed the very dynamic that brought you together. As Carl Jung observed in his deep explorations of human psychology, and I'll put this in everyday terms, we each carry within us both the capacity for passion and the instinct to nurture. But when we confuse these roles in romantic relationships, we create psychological confusion that destroys intimacy. When you start managing his decisions, worrying about his career choices, or feeling responsible for his emotional growth, you've crossed a line. You're no longer his equal partner. You've become his caretaker. And here's the brutal truth. Men don't fall in love with their mothers. They may appreciate them, depend on them, even adore them, but they don't desire them. The maternal role kills attraction because it creates a power dynamic that has nothing to do with romantic love. It transforms the relationship from a dance between equals into a hierarchy where you're the authority figure and he's the child seeking approval or rebelling against control. Your wisdom, your life experience, your insights, these are gifts you can share without becoming parental. There's a profound difference between offering guidance when asked and taking responsibility for another adult's choices. One preserves respect and attraction, the other destroys both. Take a moment and save this video now. These insights become even more powerful when you can return to them and reflect on how they apply to your own relationships and patterns. Once you stop slipping into that role, there's another trap waiting, one that drains your energy and chips away at your confidence if you're not careful.
Number 3, don't compete with his youth. Eleanor Roosevelt said something that speaks directly to this challenge, and I want you to hear it as she might have said it in intimate conversation. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent, and the moment you start competing with who someone else is, you've already lost who you are. This mistake is perhaps the most exhausting one I witness. The older woman who tries to match his energy level, his lifestyle, his pace, who reinvents herself to fit into his world rather than inviting him into hers. Competition with his youth takes many forms. Maybe you're pushing yourself to stay out as late as he does, even when your body is telling you it needs rest. Perhaps you're trying to match his sexual energy when your desires flow differently. Or maybe you've started dressing like someone half your age, speaking differently, adopting interests that don't truly resonate with you. A deep-seated belief that who you are naturally isn't enough. But think about this logically. If he wanted someone his own age, someone with his energy patterns and life rhythms, wouldn't he be with someone his own age? There's one transformation story that I think will resonate deeply, Idana's. At 58, she was thriving as a therapist, radiating calm confidence that drew people to her like a magnet. When she met Marcus, 35, the attraction was immediate, but somewhere along the way, she convinced herself she had to keep up with his lifestyle to hold his interest. She started saying yes to every late-night invitation, pushing herself to match his social energy even when it left her drained and irritable. She adopted his friends' slang, started following his music preferences, and gradually lost touch with the very qualities that had attracted him in the first place. The turning point came during a weekend trip. Idana was exhausted from trying to maintain his pace, stressed from pretending to enjoy activities that didn't fulfill her, and Marcus could sense the disconnect. During a quiet moment, he said something profound. "Idana, I fell in love with your calm, not your ability to match my chaos. I have friends my age for energy. I have you for depth." What's your experience with trying to keep up with someone younger? Have you found yourself losing parts of who you are in an attempt to fit into someone else's rhythm? Share your insights in the comments below. Your wisdom might be exactly what another woman needs to hear. The beauty of an age gap relationship isn't in erasing the gap. It's in celebrating what each person brings because of where they are in life. Your slower mornings, your preference for meaningful conversation over loud clubs, your need for rest and reflection, these aren't shortcomings to overcome. They're gifts to offer. Yet even if you honor these gifts, there's still one hidden danger that can quietly undermine the relationship if you pretend it doesn't exist.
Number 4, don't ignore power dynamics. Sometimes, love blinds us to the fact that age differences bring real, practical challenges. Ignoring them, instead of addressing them honestly, is where many relationships stumble. Age gaps in relationships bring natural imbalances. Maybe you're at different financial stages. You might be established in your career while he's still building his. Or perhaps you're thinking about retirement while he's hitting his professional stride. Maybe you've already raised children and he's just starting to think about family. Maybe you've been through a divorce, learned hard lessons about love, while he's still discovering what he wants. These aren't problems to solve, they're realities to acknowledge and navigate together. But when we ignore these dynamics, when we pretend they don't exist or don't matter, we create underground currents of resentment and misunderstanding that eventually surface in destructive ways. The power imbalances can flow in either direction. Sometimes you might feel the need to downplay your success, your financial stability, or your life experience to avoid making him feel inadequate. Other times, you might unconsciously use your advantages, emotional, financial, or social, to maintain control in the relationship. Healthy relationships require honest conversations about these realities. What are your long-term goals? How do your different life stages affect your daily choices? What happens if your timelines for major life decisions don't align? These conversations aren't romantic, but they're essential for building something real and lasting. When you ignore power dynamics, you're essentially building your relationship on a foundation of pretense. And pretense, no matter how well-intentioned, always crumbles under the weight of reality.
The philosopher Rainer Maria Rilke understood about love, and I'll share this as he might have in personal reflection. Perhaps all the dragons in our lives are princesses who are only waiting to see us beautiful and brave. And perhaps everything that frightens us is, in its deepest essence, something helpless that wants our love. Right now, you can share this video with the women in your life who might benefit from these insights. Sometimes the most profound wisdom comes from honest conversations about the challenges we all face in love. When you avoid these mistakes, you don't just keep a younger man interested, you keep yourself respected.
Let's bring this full circle. The 4 things you must never do with a younger man. Never apologize for your age. Don't slip into the mother role. Resist the urge to compete with his youth. And always acknowledge the real power dynamics at play. Love with a younger man can be one of the most beautiful, enriching experiences of your life when it's built on the solid foundation of confidence, mutual respect, and absolute honesty about who you both are. You are not too old for love. You are not past your prime. You are not settling or being settled for. You are a woman with depth, wisdom, passion, and an incredible capacity for connection. When you approach relationships from this place of knowing your worth, age becomes irrelevant and connection becomes everything. The right younger man isn't looking for someone to compete with women his age. He's looking for someone who offers what only experience, wisdom, and self-knowledge can provide. He's looking for authenticity, depth, and the kind of confidence that can only come from a woman who has lived, learned, and chosen to keep her heart open. Love doesn't diminish with age. It deepens, becomes richer, more intentional, more real. I treasure hearing from women who are navigating these waters. Whether you're curious about the possibility, currently in a relationship with a younger man, or reflecting on past experiences, your stories, your insights, your questions, they all add to our collective wisdom. Share your thoughts in the comments below. If these truths resonated with you, that like button helps us reach other women who need to hear this message, and subscribing ensures you'll never miss insights that can transform how you approach love and relationships. I've carefully selected related videos in the description that dive deeper into building confidence, understanding your worth, and creating the kind of authentic connections that fulfill your soul at every stage of life. Your journey toward the love you deserve continues with each insight you embrace and each truth you make your own. And I'm Vernon. Thanks for watching my video.